All right, guys. So, free agent visit for the Baltimore Ravens. A couple of updated mock drafts, some of the top available free agents, and more, man. Just want to make sure you're up to date on all of your Baltimore Ravens news. So, quick little video for you guys. It's like the calm before the storm. We're officially 2 weeks out from the NFL draft. Not a lot of stuff going on. Teams at this point aren't going to sign a lot of free agents because they're going to want to wait and see what happens till after the draft. Plus, if they can wait, a little bit longer, they can sign a player and it won't affect them for the compensatory pick formula. So welcome into another episode of Ravens Reports. It's your guy Noah here with For the Flock. As always, bringing you guys our top 5 news reports and storylines coming out of our Ravens today. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Excited to just talk some Ravens ball with you guys real quick, man. So at number 1, let's talk about this free agent visit that the Baltimore Ravens are bringing in. Offensive tackle George Fant. He's played with a lot of teams, most recently with the Seahawks, had an injury, was released by the Seahawks, but he has experience starting at left and right tackle, a lot of experience. The Ravens need a swing tackle. If Ronnie Stanley or right tackle Roger Rosengarten were to go down with an injury, they need a guy that can come in, step in, and fill in, right? Because Patrick McCarry, he was that guy before, and he signed a big deal in free agency. He's no longer with the Baltimore Ravens. So the Ravens have some work to do on shoring up that offensive line. George Fant could be a nice veteran fit. The Titans and the Ravens are both interested right now, but he said that he'd be intrigued with the Ravens because obviously they're contenders. They're, last 2 years in the AFC Championship and then the divisional round, just moments away from possibly being the AFC Championship again. And then Tennessee, he's from Nashville, so he likes those two fits there. We'll see if he ends up signing with Baltimore or Tennessee. At number 2, while we're talking about free agency, we got some updates for some available guys, right? Matt Judon, we're very familiar with him. He's getting a little bit older. He had a big dip in production last year. Was it scheme fit? Was it the defense overall? Was he not happy? I don't know. Zadarius Smith still playing at a high level. I would love to see a reunion with Zadarius Smith. And then we got Von Miller, who he's 35, but he was named as a fit by multiple media agencies saying that, hey, the Ravens have been willing to sign older guys in the past in, route of a championship. And we saw Von Miller on third down. When he has to pin his ears back and get after the quarterback, man, he can still do that at a high level. So the Ravens, I think this offseason, the priority, and we'll talk about this with the draft prospects as well, but I think it's got to be, all hands on deck on shoring up that defensive front. You got some good building blocks, all right? Owe, Van Noy, Travis Jones, and Matabike. That's like 4 good players right there. But I want to see a deep, dominant defensive line that can do like what we saw with Philly, what they did to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I want to have a game-wrecking front, a front that can completely take over games, especially against pass-happy offenses in the playoffs. So if the Ravens were to draft a top pass rusher or defensive tackle and then add another one of these free agents like we talked about, like a Zadarius Smith or Von Miller, the Ravens would be in really good shape. Imagine a front with Matabike, Jones, Derek Harmon in the draft, Zadarius Smith, Owe, Van Noy. That would be a pretty nice front. Or if they drafted another pass rusher like a Mike Green or Shamar Stewart, Donovan Zaraku, any of those guys, the Ravens front could be pretty nasty. I think the 3 biggest needs for the Ravens right now, like absolute must-haves, you need to add another guy on the roster in these positions, is cornerback. You lost Arthur Millette and Brendan Stevens. Defensive tackle, you lost Michael Pierce. You need more guys in that rotation than edge rusher. You have your 2 starters that would be penciled in, but Kyle Van Noy is getting older. You need more depth there. Owe, he'll be a free agent after this year. Same thing with Van Noy. So you need more guys on that defense. Guard is a need as well. I'm not as concerned about guard because, 4 of the starting guys are returning next year. Falele, Rosengarten, Linderbaum, and Stanley will all be back. Biggest question is left guard, but Andrew Voorhees got some starts last year, and then Ben Cleveland was also brought back. So you have 2 guys that will compete for that spot. I would still like to see an upgrade at guard. I just think that the defense is going to be the main priority this offseason. At number 3, Speaking of the defense, draft expert Mel Kiper Jr., he remains bullish on Georgia's safety as a great fit for the Baltimore Ravens. So Malachi Starks, he's more of a free safety, instinctive, rangy guy that gets in receptions. That would be a guy that could, be back there with, that could play back there with a Darius Washington, let Kyle Hamilton come up in the box. Or, Starks also can play nickel. This guy would bring so much versatility to the defense. I'm also a big fan of drafting a DB in the first round. If it's another corner like a Siobhan Revel or Benjamin Morrison, Jade Barron out of Texas, the safeties, Nick Menwari, Malachi Starks, all these guys, I would be thrilled with another, DB back there in the secondary that could really create a no-fly zone. Like imagine, Malachi Starks, Kyle Hamilton, Nate Wiggins, Marlon Humphrey, Darius Washington, or Jade Barron. The Ravens could really create a special secondary. And it's weird this year with the Ravens draft. They have 11 picks, but only 3 of their picks are in the top 125. So you really got 3 swings for those top prospects. But if you wanted to, you could package some later round picks to move up some more. I've seen rumors of the Ravens trading Mark Andrews and a 4th round pick to get a team's 2nd or 3rd round pick, to kind of move up that way. That would be another option. Or if it was another player that teams were interested in. I don't know. I've seen some rumors thrown around about Odafe Owe as well. Owe would obviously, he would get some more trade capital. I mean, he was double-digit sacks last year, 10 sacks, and he's still young. He's ascending. But Mel Kiper thinks Malachi Starks would be a great fit to allow Kyle Hamilton to move around. Kiper says he wouldn't be surprised if Menwari was the first safety selected, but Starks is Kiper's favorite. He said he's my number 1 safety, but he says with Malachi Starks' ball skills, his awareness, the way he tackles, he says, I think the Ravens would be a great fit. And I agree. I would love that pick. When asked about pass rushers, he says he's a big Izaraku guy. Hopefully I'm not messing that up too much, but he says, I love the way he plays. He's got great bend. He closes. He has production. He has production and talent. Izaraku, so out of Boston College, last time we took a first-round Boston College player, it worked out pretty well with Zay Flowers. I like his game. He's really explosive and bendy. Reminds me a little bit of like a Unique Ngakoue type, where he is fast but also has really unique movement skills. Remember, Unique Ngakoue, his first few years in the NFL, was very, very productive and explosive. He says he also likes some other players for the Ravens: Mike Green, James Pierce, Michael Williams, Shamar Stewart. So, this is the year. If you're looking for a defensive tackle or an edge rusher, if you're looking for some game records up front, this is your year. Great, draft availability and needs lining up for the Baltimore Ravens here. At number 4, around the AFC North, some updates here. Remember, the Ravens have won their division 2 years in a row. The Steelers have been, close. They've been in the mix. They always are in the mix because of their head coach and the way they're ran, their defense, with TJ Watt and those guys. But they've been searching for that quarterback. I always joke about the Steelers because, they're never bad enough to get a top draft pick to get a good quarterback, but they're never good enough to get deep in the playoffs. They're just stuck in this above average state where they make it to the playoffs, but then don't progress because they don't have a quarterback. Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders is scheduled to visit with the Steelers later this week. That would be a big upgrade for them. That would be a guy that could actually make them a legitimate contender, someone they could develop. The last time they took a quarterback in the first round was Kenny Pickett. That didn't work out, but eventually they're going to find their guy. And then if you look around, you'll suddenly have 3, powerhouses in the AFC North with Joe Burrow and the Bengals, and they got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. They always give the Ravens a hard time with their passing attack. And then you got Baltimore, and then you would have Steelers, who are always a contender, but then they would have a quarterback as well. So the AFC North is never been easy to make it out of, but the Ravens have done it 2 years in a row, winning their division. And I think they're in position to do it again this upcoming year. At number 5, just a quick update on the tight end market, because remember, Charlie Kolar, Isaiah Likely, and Mark Andrews are all going to be free agents in 2026 when free agency starts. And Trey McBride of the Cardinals just got paid a massive deal that kind of reset the tight end market. And one of these guys is going to get paid like a top tight end, because both Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely are top tight ends in this league. They're like, even though they're both on the Ravens roster and they kind of take away from each other's stats, they are still both top 5, top 10 type of tight ends in this league, and are both starting caliber dudes on, the majority of other rosters. So I just want to know, let me know in the comment section below, what do you think is the biggest need for the Ravens? I just saw another article, I saw somewhere else, someone said corner, and I saw another article say edge. Someone else said defensive tackle. I saw someone say guard. What is the biggest need for the Ravens, in your opinion? I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Thank you all for tuning in. Hit the like button if you got any value out of today's content, and we'll see you in the next video.
When he wasn't looking, he ran me over.